Everybody, it's ET. I'm about to get all of this started. Alright, so I did a little searching on the web and I found a much better solution than what I've been trying to do. So let's use some of that, right? So I think it was Telnet. That might be my history. Yeah, I think this is it. Alright, so this solution is by ESAC on Stack Overflow. And here we go. So what I might do is just make a whole new program. So let's add a whole new item here. Let's just make a new class. I'll put it in the class, whatever. We can name it the same thing they're naming, Telnet. Sure. Yep. So here are some of the items they're going to be using, some of the member variables. They're doing a read-only. Pool. Let's see, what's a pool? Is that something I can grab? Maybe I have to make my own pool. Socket async EventArgs. Arg. And we'll just call this event arg pool. I don't like naming it things like that. I think event args is just fine. Alright, so this event args is in system sockets. Perfect. Alright, this pool doesn't exist. So I guess we can just generate a pool. Alright, so what is a pool? Like, what are my functions for a pool? Pool programming functions, I guess. Let's see, thread pool functions. You can creates a thread pool. Nice. Queue. So that's kind of like grabbing something out of the pool. Wait. Okay. And destroy. So let's say a C# pool. Generic. Yeah, generic. C# generic pool. Object pool. What's a concurrent bag? Oh my gosh, I have no idea. Okay. We have this object. It's a pool. I don't know, a stack. I want first in, first out. Last in, first out. LIFO. What's a LIFO? A stack, right? Put it in, take it out. Put it in, take it out. Yeah, stack was good. A stack of T. Yeah, using that. I'm gonna make it private. Stack of T. And we'll just call this stack. Is it not just that? What's this? Okay, that's a simple stack. What if I didn't use that? Private stack. Generic, yeah, that's what I want. T, yeah, okay. And so this is going to be private stack of T, which is going to be a stack, yeah. and you can always, what do you have? Get object and put object. So CTOR, I'm going to just say int number number of objects. Why not? Then we're just going to say for int I equals 0, I less than, did I do that wrong? Int I equals 0, I less than, what am I doing wrong? Alright, public pool, is this not a thing? Okay. Int number of objects. For int I equals 0, I less than number of objects, I plus plus. So this is going to create our initial pool of objects. So stack.push new T. Because it doesn't have a new constraint? I don't know what that means. Okay, so clonable? This is where I'm trying to figure out what I need to do. Alright, so we're going to return a function and the result has to be of type T. Number of object, a creator, a constructor, something like that. Object, constructor. And then basically just object constructor. There we go. So when you create a new pool, we're going to say how many of the objects and how do you construct it. So that makes sense, and that's what I guess that this part is. Yeah, makes sense. Oh yeah, we might as well just keep it. So your stack, and you will be private function T. You'll be object constructor, and I might call it generator. We'll see. Okay. We have size, and so size can equal number of objects. Excellent. So we have size, object constructor, and then we basically push a whole bunch of objects. And then so we get two more things. We're going to say public T get object. And all you do is just return stack dot push peak pop. And then the other one is put object. And then we just say stack, put object, we're going to put T object. Shoot. Push generic object. There we go. And you're not actually, you should just do a void. Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty easy. We just say number of objects, object constructor, perfect. So that is what you'll be doing. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, finally got that. Cool. So we got the object pool. I'm gonna close this. Open up this next part. Alright, the next thing that we're going to get is a socket. So socket, and this can just be server listen sockets. Awesome. Okay, and let's do some events. Public event handler, socket async event args. We'll say connected. On connected. Public event handler. Alright, I feel like I'm going to be using this a few times. Haven't used this one before, but I'm sure it's very useful. So we got on connected, on disconnected, public events. Let's see, this is what I'm going to do too. I'm going to, yeah, just so I can see the chat if anything comes up. Where's that at? Here? Alright, cool. How do I make this big? Isn't there a way to, like, maximize this whole thing? Like if I just wanted to edit this. I said Windows, not split, not pin. Oh well, whatever. I'm just wasting my time. Alright, public event handler. Yeah, still too small though. Maybe I can make this smaller. Yeah, like that's good. Alright, good enough, good enough. Alright, so we got on disconnected. I feel like I saved this already. On data received. I gotta make sure it's a public event. On data sent. I don't know what this last one is, but I'll just put it in there anyway. Public event on line received. Don't really know the difference here. Kind of like that, but I'm not gonna. Private int port equals 23. Alright, cool. Oh, we can use telnet on this. That's amazing. I just realized that. Alright. Public telnet. Alright, so this is where we're going to initialize the event args. So event arg equals new pool. Yep. Number of objects. Let's just do 10, I guess. And the constructor. Can I just say something like this? What do you think? It was a long shot, but I figured I might try. Yeah, it might actually work. This just means a new delegate, right? I could really just do that too. New delegate. Delegate. Or do I even do that? Do I just say delegate? Oh yeah, I like that. Cool. Alright, cool. So we got a way to create a new event args, and we're doing 10 of them in the pool. This is what I'm going to say. If stack.size.count, yep, is less than or equal to 0, stack.push private empty check, empty pool check. And so that's just going to say if what am I going to do? If the stack count is less than or equal to 0, stack.push object constructor. Run it. There you go. And this should be a void. Alright, cool. So we got the, if you're getting an object, it checks if the pool is empty and checks it. We can even do the full pool check. I'm just going to say if stack.count is greater than number of objects. Yeah. How do I get, oh, size. Otherwise, we don't need it, right? And we can just say, we can just kind of run this here, right? We don't need to name it. I don't know. I don't know what's good practice here. Alright, so if you're getting an object, you're going to say, hey, if you're less than or equal to 0, push a new object in there and pop it out. Or if you're trying to put it in, as long as your stack is less than size, you can put it back in the stack. Cool. Alright, so that makes sense. Alright, so that makes sense to me. And sure, let's make the port equals 23. We're calling it a listen port, so let's just do the same. Or a lister port. I don't think they're calling it a lister port. Listen port. Lister port. Alright, so far so good. So much like a lot of the Unity functions, we're going to do a start function. And so when you do start, what are we going to do? We're going to get an IP endpoint. I don't really know what that is exactly. So first we'll use system.net and just put our mouse over this. Represents a network endpoint as an IP address and a port number. Oh, okay. So it's kind of like an object that represents IP and port. Makes sense. So we're going to say a new IP endpoint. IP endpoint, IP address 0, and the listen port. Excellent. So now we're going to go ahead and put our server listen socket, and that's going to be a new socket where we're going to put our endpoint and endpoint.address family. This is going to be a socket type of, I'm going to guess this is a stream, and I'm going to guess this is going to be TCP, but we can verify that. So if I just go to the right, stream and protocol type is TCP, yeah. Alright, cool. Okay, so we're going to say server listen socket dot bind to this endpoint that we've made, and then we're just going to listen to it. Yeah, 100 sounds good. Not sure if that's right, but sounds okay. Alright, and I'm gonna assume this is not what I'm thinking. Okay, so stop is not there yet. So we'll just say private, or yeah, sure, public void stop is something like that. But more importantly, public, this is a private void start except SocketAsyncEventArgs. Alright, so if E equals null, which it does, we're going to say E equals eventargs.get object. And then e.completeIt plus equals accept complete it. Yes. Alright, no problem yet. So that's if E equals null. Else, E.accept suffix equals null. Alright, and then we're going to go down one more. If server listen socket dot accept async E equals false, then accept complete it this E. Alright, makes sense. So far, what we've done here is, alright, on the start, we're making the endpoint, we're creating the socket, we're binding our IP address to the socket, and then we're listening for 100 connections. So that's great. And then you start accept null. So what's that do? That's going to do one of these two things. Since it's null, you're going to get an object and set e.completed to accept completed. Alright, cool. And then you're gonna, or if you already have e, like say we're coming in from another accept, you can just say the accept socket is equal to null. And then we listen for this thing. If we do get an accept asynchronous and it's false, we just go ahead and run the command quickly because it's already completed and we haven't even finished the code. So okay, I think I understand it. So what happens if something is completed, if something is accepted? Is that what we're doing next? Yes. So I don't know what this does. Alright, so an accept socket, get or sets the socket. So this gets or sets the socket to use or the socket created for accepting the connection. Okay, so this is the socket made for the connection. Gets or sets the bool value that specifies whether the stream socket is using the Nagel algorithm. Alright, so I don't even know what that is. Have to look up the Nagel algorithm. Okay. Connection. I feel like this is not something I have. But we'll just go with it for now. I don't know what you're telling me. Are we already using system.net? We are. Alright. Alright, so inaccessible due to its protection level. Huh. Let me select through this code right quick just to make sure I see it all. Void disconnect. Yeah, I don't know what that connection is, actually. So let's look at what it does. Alright, so when I say disable echo here, connection, Alright, so I think his connection object is a custom object. So I don't know what it's doing. Alright, yeah. I think connection is some kind of custom object that we're gonna have to make. So here we go. When we're creating a new connection, what do we do here? Alright, I think we're gonna have to generate a new class or something for this sucker. I don't want to call it connection either. Let's call it, not states, packets, maybe. And if we do call it connection, let's just call it network connection. Alright, so at least we can generate a class for it. Alright, so this network connection, it's going to e.user token. What kind of? It's just an object. Okay. So that's no problem. So yeah, what were you gonna do? Generate a new constructor? Yeah, that sounds good to me. Private socket, private telnet. Good enough for now. Great. So back to telnet. So we have this network connection called connection, and then yeesh, where am I? Here we go. I don't know what this means, but we will make the function disable echo on the connection. Okay, SocketAsyncEventArgs args equals EventArgs.pop get object. I might call it just pop and push. Okay. Args.userToken equals connection. Sure. Alright, and if connected does not equals null. Oh yeah, that's not what you have to worry about. I just say on connect. On connected. This and args. So I forgot to do that. You're going to be a delegate. Great. So, on connected. So we disable it. So what are we doing here? When we get an exception, we say, okay, do this algorithm. I don't know what that means, but we're going to create a new connection file. And so that's going to basically get the accept socket and this. Disable echo, we have yet to do. But then we're going to get a new socket async event args from the pool, and we're going to attach our connection to it, and then we're going to pass the event, hey, we connected. Great. So what do we do next? we'll say args dot complete it plus equals receive complete it. And I don't know if I'm going to do this complete it thing, but might call it callback or something later. Post receive args, don't know what that is. And then we're going to just continue using the same except event arg. Okay, cool. Generate methods post receive. Alright. So where are we going here? Post receive. Okay, that's what I just generated. So no problem. First things first, we're just going to say connection or network connection equals e.user token as network connection. Okay, so that's easy. That was the first thing we do. And then we're going to say, hey, if connection does not equal null, very important check, especially using that as. Connection that receive buffer. Alright, so that's where I am. Receive buffer. C#. Alright, so I feel like some stuff is missing. Connection. Alright. I mean, I definitely see this whole connection thing. I just don't know what you're using it as. I'm thinking it's similar to, if I'm looking at async socket C#. Yeah. There's going to be a in this example, there's like a class at the top, which is, I'm guessing, very similar to this connection. So buffer size, yeah, I think all of this. So if I go to my network connection, I have, and let's just go ahead and say public socket. And for now, we'll just kind of name it the same thing. Sockets, telnet, yeah, that's okay. Alright, public constant int buffer size equals, I'll put 256, like they got public byte buffer equals new byte a buffer size. And why not? Public string builder equals new string builder. Why not? Right? Alright. So socket gets put in here and telnet. Sure. Alright, back to this. So going back down here, on accept complete, on post receive. Alright, basically, we're going to say e.setBuffer. Buffer is going to be the data buffer, the count, and I don't even know what you're telling me. Alright, so when we're setting buffer, what are our two options? The buffer, the offset, and the count. So connection.buffer Alright, member network connection cannot be accessed with an instance. Is it just network connection? Alright, I feel this is wrong, but I think it'll still work. Okay. So while we're still in this, I'm going to say if connection.socket.receive async of E equals false. Just receive completed this E. Nice. Alright, so receive completed. Let's go. So we'll always do this network connection thing. Network connection equals e.userToken as network connection. Alright. So that's a given. e.bytes transferred equals 0, or e.socketerror does not equal SocketError.success. Or connection equals null. If any of that happens, just disconnect. Say disconnectee. On disconnect. I don't think that's what we're doing. I think we're going to make a new function. Alright. Alright, so otherwise, you're connecting just fine. So I'm going to say connection.buffer. I don't even know what you're telling me. Oh, okay. This is what I'm gonna do. Make some properties. Public. Let's just do what he has, which is gonna be receive buffer. So public byte receive buffer equals, get return buffer. Okay, so that's how you get that buffer. What else do we have? Okay, this is how I really want to handle this. I'm going to make a class called buffer in here. And I'll make it internal again. Alright, internal class buffer. And yeah, you'll contain these things like public byte data buffer. Equals new byte buffer size. I have too many brackets. Okay, so we got data buffer is this, and what else do we need? Count. So public int count. I'm just gonna call it offset. It's gonna equal to 0 to begin with. Public so we got our count, offset, and a remaining, right? Public int remaining. It's gonna be a function, and we'll just say get maybe just here, get return buffer size minus offset. Okay. So we got remaining, we got offset, and we got data buffer. Okay. So we don't really need you. Everything else is cool. And yeah, let's go ahead and make a public buffer guess I'll just call it receive buffer equals new buffer. Alright, cool. So we got the new buffer. So kind of exactly what he's doing here. Receive buffer dot offset and connection dot receive buffer dot remaining. So that's kind of what he's doing, right? Yeah. Alright, and so now back here where we are changing the buffer, receive buffer dot offset plus equals e dot bytes transferred. Nice. Okay, on data received, this E, right? Or is that, yeah. Data received. Received. I can't spell. How do you spell that? data received E, handle command E, echo echo E, on line received, we'll just say line received E. And post receive E. So I don't know what all this is, but we'll figure it out, right? So line received, echo, handle command, and data received. Alright, so we got data received. What are we doing here in data received? Oh, yeah. That's fine. On data received, this E. I'm cool with that. Don't worry about this. Handle command. What are you doing with that? Don't know yet. I'll have to get back to that. So what's the next thing we're going to worry about? We'll kind of just do it in the same order. Online received. Okay. So what do we do here? We're going to go int index equals 0. I'm going to copy and paste this just to see what he's telling me to do. Oh, I see I passed the wrong thing in here. Should have been connection. Should have been network connection. Receive buffer. Alright, let's go to our network connection. So I just say sb.append. So if I go back to telnet, say index of this thing, and I just say sb.index of toString index of the index. So we're just going to say sb.append. How does this happen? State buffer. Encoding. Oh gosh. .ascii.getString. And a bytes array. It's going to be yep. It's going to be getString. It's going to be data buffer. It's going to be offset. And it's going to be bytes transferred. And then finally, offset plus equals bytes transferred. Excellent. Back to telnet. Alright, so we are going to continue doing this crazy stuff. So under telnet, you're going to say getString. Alright, so we got telnet and we got this guy. So what do you want? Index minus start minus 1. Alright, so I think that's just the length. Okay, cool. So substring, and all we gotta do is say start and v, and you can really just be length. Alright, cool. Yeah, that's a really hard one. I don't know what this line receive thing does. I'm sure it's super important. I'll come back to it. Let's see what else we can do. Let's see if we can do public bool send connection, network connection, and string s. So what you got for me? That's cool. Equals false. Alright, so we're going to get the default encoding of it, basically a bytes array, I guess. And otherwise, you're going to just return false. Okay. Goodness, you can send a whole bunch of stuff, I see. Connection V, which we're going to rename to data 0 data.length. Alright. Yes, we need that one too. Before that one, we can even get another one. Yeah, that seems good. And then finally, this crazy long one. Alright, so we got data, int's going to be offset, and length, sure. Alright, bool status equals true. I'm just going to copy all of this for now. Yeah, it's lowercase. You're gonna get object. User token is connection. Send complete, it should be another function. You'll be lowercase. And then finally, the other way, EventArgs dot put object. Okay, that seems good. Alright. Disable echo, yeah. Alright, send completed should not be too bad. Okay, that looks good. Handle command, that looks pretty hard. I'm getting to the point where I'm just copying and pasting now, because I am getting tired. So where's my handle command? Handle command. Alright, so yeah, you're not network. You're network connection. Network connection. It's gonna be like that. Lordy. Okay, so at least put you at the bottom here. Yeah. Alright, here we go. So handle command, telnet commands. Alright, so you do have a buffer class, and maybe I just need to, yeah, I don't know. Okay, let me just see what else I need to implement. And when I say implement, I mean copy and paste. Copy and pasting all of that. The disconnect sounds good too. Yeah, alright, I'm good with that. So if we go back to telnets, echo, yeah, I'm about to put you down there. Alright, so what do we need to do besides change that connection to network connection? Okay, this is not bad. This is what I can do here. You are on disconnected. You're going to be a or the other thing I can do is just make you capital up here, so we don't have this issue anymore. Okay, socket, socket, you should be fine now. What? Oh, because you don't know what we're talking about. That's the other thing, right? Alright, so yes, yes, yes. Yeah, let's get the pool too, and let's say get object is going to be pop, and put object is going to be push. Okay. So back to telnet. You'll just be EventArgs.push. You can be network connection. Yes, all that looks great. Here we go. Oof, command buffer, huh? And S, what is S? S is a string. Alright, so I'm gonna say you're a Q. Q of string command buffer equals new Q string. Okay. Not that I really know what's going on, but I've made a new command buffer with an enqueue command. Okay. So I'm going to say offsets equal to start, and for int I equals start I less than length I plus plus, and then we just say data buffer at I equals 0. I think so. Alright. At least that's how I'm going to handle it. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what the buffer object really should be here. This is a great answer. I just wish there was more. Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking. I really don't know. Yeah, like this command, s.backspace, it has it in there. I just don't know what that is. Interesting. So I guess I will just do it like that, I guess. The string s.backspace. Yeah, who knows what... What do we have in connection? Network connection, I have no idea. I don't know what we're doing here. I feel like this is supposed to do something with the commands, and I really don't know. So I lost it. I was following it so good, and then I lost it here at the end. So I might have to just read this one more time, or just figure out how telnet works, and then continue onwards, I guess. But alright, I'm going to take a break here. And so we have this pool of socket async arguments. I guess I should just walk through it right quick before I give up here. So at the beginning here, we're making a new pool. I just put 10 in here, but I could make it more. And I made some kind of constructor that just makes a new event arg, because so it basically does this 10 times. And then it listens to the port. Great, so that's when we create the object. Now when we actually start the server, this telnet server, it's going to make an endpoint, so it's going to just use localhost or whatever 0 is, and then listen to the port. So it's just listening. Doesn't really. So 0 is not really localhost, but it's how the server is going to listen to everything. And then we're going to make a new socket. We're going to bind the endpoint to the sockets, and then we're going to listen for up to 100 connection backlog. And then we're going to start accepting. So, okay. Start accepting with null will basically get one of the arguments from the pool and then put a listener on it. And so we're going to only have this one event arg that will be for accepting connections. So, else it'll be null. So basically I check, hey, did it just hurry up and finish before it even had to do anything asynchronously? And if so, great, async completed. Otherwise, let's just wait for it to complete. So okay, once it does complete, once we did accept the connection, we're going to make a new network connection object. Yeah, that sounds good. I might make a pool of these too. Might be better. Yep. So what? So what am I thinking? I'm gonna have args. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm being quiet. So once we accepted it, we're gonna set it to this no delay function, which I don't really know what it is about, but anyway, continuing onwards, we make a new network connection state object. Basically, we're gonna disable the echo, which I think you just send a command via telnet, and then we're gonna get another event args from the pool, and we're gonna go ahead and put user token connection to that same thing, and then we're gonna launch the event here on the class that says on connected. So cool, we're connected. So okay, and in that case, now we're just gonna be listening for receiving. So basically, put the completed as plus equals received completed. Then start listening for receive, and then that same old thread's gonna start accepting again. So okay, great. So post receive, how are we gonna start listening for receiving? We're just going to say, hey, here's a buffer, here's the address of the buffer, here's the offset of the buffer and the length of the buffer. And then see if he received anything. If he did right away, call this, otherwise just wait for it. So while we're waiting for it, once we received it, either there or once we get it asynchronously, it's going to get the connection. It's going to check if you have 0, socket error, or connection equals null. If it is, then we're going to disconnect out of here. Otherwise, we're going to proceed as normal. We're going to read the buffer, handle the command, echo, do a whole bunch of stuff that maybe I didn't understand right away. So I'm not going to look into handle command and receive. But okay, the other way, if we're sending something, we format it to this right format, so we use this send command, and then here we go. If the connection socket equals null, or we're not connected anymore, just return false, we couldn't send it. Otherwise, we're going to get a new event args, we're going to put our connection in here, we're going to say when you're finished sending, go to complete it, and then we're going to set the buffer to this data, offset, and length. Okay. So here we go. We're going to say, if you sense quickly, great. Just call sent right away. But if you're having trouble, then just push this args back. And you couldn't actually send it. Okay, and then once you actually sent something, just take out the commands and complete it and push it back. Alright, so echoing something. Don't really know. All that stuff I don't know. Alright, disconnecting should be good. So disconnecting, you get the connection. If the connection is already equal to null, just say there's a problem with it. Otherwise, you shut down both sides, and then you can close the socket. You can say the socket disconnected, and then just some cleanup. You're gonna go ahead and unsubscribe from your events, and you're good. I don't know why you'd use this one versus this one. I mean, I see the event args. But this one doesn't return it to the pool, I guess, or something, right? Or I guess since this happens, then this will happen. I don't know. Either way, there we go. So definitely some things I gotta look at, but I'm very much on the verge of having this telnet thing working. And once I get this telnet thing working, then we'll have this asynchronous server, which will be amazing. Then we can start designing it to do what we actually want, which is good, which is great. Okay. I'm gonna leave for now. I'll be back maybe in a little bit. Bye.